What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Tiege Hanley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Tiege Hanley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people, and I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self-care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now, and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Tiege Hanley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on? Is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels, and as expected, I am live streaming from different locations while my studio was under construction. So you got to forgive the makeshift and the adjustments that we making on the Millionaire Morning Show. But early January 2025, we're gonna get back to the things that we supposed to be doing. But as usual, we don't miss. Shout out to everybody that tuned into the show last night. It was absolutely awesome. I appreciate Q and all of the panelists that came up and kicked it. It was an absolutely exciting show. I have a show lined up for you today that I think is chock full of information and new news. And so we got to stay on top of that. We got to talk about Trump and his new tariffs against China, Mexico, and Canada. We also need to talk about Netanyahu's potential ceasefire deal that's in place or going into place today, possibly. We also have to talk about Elon Musk and Trump possibly buying MSNBC. Kamala Harris is deciding that she wants to get back into the race. And The View is blocking AOPS. So amongst a whole lot of other things, including quick hits, we got to get into the show. So if you are not a part of this bag chaser group as far as the Patreon, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order plus 20% off for life. And then last but not least, make sure you get your tickets to come and see me December 14th in Detroit. It is going to be an absolutely awesome time. But in the meantime, you're going to have to tune in. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed to the channel when it's your first time here, that's cool. Enjoy the show. If you like it, make sure that you send it to your friends and family. If this is your second time here or more, then I know that you love what we got going on. Regardless of whether you agree with me or not, you absolutely love what we got going on. So make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel. Hit a like. That's your price of admission, regardless of how many times you've been here. But make sure you subscribe if you've been here more than twice so that you can get your notifications because we go live every single morning, Monday through Friday, and add value into your life, and we never miss, all right? This is the greatest morning show on the face of the earth. We got a lot of things going on, and we got after hours tonight with me, Carrie, Quentin, and Slimmy. So Quentin was missing the last show because he had to go and take care of some business, but we back at it. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. What up? What up? What up? I see all of my friends and family inside of the chat. What's up, friends? What's happening, y'all? How y'all doing today? Is everything good? Everything is awesome? Listen, the one thing that I know for sure and two things that's for certain is the news cycle don't stop at all. At all. So let me go ahead and acknowledge some of these cash apps just because I want to make sure that I give credit where credit is due. We never asked for it, but I always want to acknowledge the people that support the platform. ESDC is in the building first. Let me just give another shout out to Chris James yesterday. He really, really blessed me. ESDC, Mr. DJ, and Mike that dude. Shout out to all of y'all. I appreciate y'all for holding me down. Thank you, thank you, thank you for always making sure that you add value into what we got going on. All right? So y'all ready to go ahead and get started with the show? Let me see how the chat is feeling. I remember at one time, maybe about a year and a half ago, when we would first come into the chat, I would always get a sentiment of how the people was feeling. So let's do that, right? We would either do one or two things. We would either check in from where you was at. Y'all would let me know where y'all was at, or y'all would give me y'all sentiment of how y'all was feeling. So let's do that. Everybody in the chat, everybody that's typing, everybody that has access to a computer, let me know in one word how you feel today, because you're about to lock in for the next 2 hours and I'm going to keep y'all distracted from what y'all got going on at work. You know what I'm saying? Everybody in the chat, everybody that's watching us right now, hit me off with how you feel, what your sentiment is, in one word. Maybe you're blessed, maybe you're tired, maybe you was doing something you wasn't supposed to do last night and you hoping to recover from it. Give me one word. Y'all don't want Ellen DeGenerate over here. One word. I see blessed, phenomenal, great, awesome, beat. You beat, great, awesome, good, Minnesota, wonderful, sick. Aw, ash cakes. I got you, baby. I'm going to entertain you. Divorce. Oh, no, not divorce. Blessed and hungry, phenomenal. See, you're going to do two words. You're going to do blessed and hungry. Y'all ain't following directions. Y'all going to do what y'all want to do when y'all want to do. Tired, exhausted, unstoppable, stressed, and overwhelmed. Stressed and overwhelmed. Don't pray and worry. Grateful, happy, rush, says Eric D. Driven, hopeful, tremendous, happy, diligent. Okay. All right. Overwhelmed. What are you overwhelmed with, Desiree? Desiree, what you overwhelmed with? Grateful, dedicated, highly favored, hurting, concerned. What are you concerned about? Tom Holman snapped on Denver Mayor. We'll deal with that tomorrow. Ready, rested, thankful, motivated, concerned, blessed. Ready for the show to start. The show was already here. All right, so y'all ready to go ahead and get started with the show? People said that they want to get to the thick of things. This is must see every day. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We are the most consistent and the best show on the fact. There is no show that is better than ours. Facts. That is a fact. So again, make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, plus 20% off life. Oh, I'll probably appear on Fox News tonight on Lauren Ingram's show. Top of the hour, 7 p.m. Eastern. But we'll talk about that later. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's rock out and let's get it popping. Quick hits. Let's get into quick hits, y'all. So, quick hits is a segment of the show that we don't necessarily think that we need to highlight each and individual subject as its own individual segment, but we definitely want to keep y'all in the loop on what's going on out in these streets. Let me get my iPad out with my Apple Pencil, because Anton be having to take notes and go in on some things. You know what I'm saying? So Macy's is saying that and one employee, just one employee, hid $154 million in expenses, and they got to make adjustments. Let's get into it, y'all.
In the books, but the parade will go on, just not the latest earnings report. Macy's says that that's being delayed after a former accounting employee hid more than $100 million in delivery expenses. Business reporter Alexis Christoforous has all the details. Hey, Alexis.
That's right, Kira. Macy's stock coming under some pressure here today after the retailer said it's been forced to delay the release of its quarterly earnings report. That's after it found an employee intentionally hid up to $154 million in delivery expenses for the past 3 years. Now, Macy's, which also owns Bloomingdale's and Blue Mercury, said it discovered this accounting issue while it was preparing its quarterly financial statement. The retailer says the employee in question no longer works for the company, and in a statement, Macy's said it promotes, quote, a culture of ethical conduct and is working diligently to complete the investigation. Still, this incident is raising alarm bells with some financial analysts who say they're now concerned about the competence of the company's auditors. And it comes as Macy's continues to struggle with sales, both in-store and online. Of course, it's hoping to turn things around during the crucial holiday shopping season. So Macy's was supposed to release its profit report card today. Instead, it posted a partial report. showing sales fell 2.4% last quarter and now plans to release its full earnings report December 11th.
If there's ever a company that you would like to short, and I've always believed that Macy's was a short, Macy's jumped a little bit during the pandemic because it was a similar situation to what was going on with GameStop. But if you're a long-term investor or, you play into the market for the long term, it didn't really matter whether you're going up and down. A lot of people panic when they see that their portfolio is down or whatever, so on and so forth. But Macy's has long been a short. If you ever want to bet against a retailer, and I'm not telling you to do it because I'm a long-term investor and I don't really do shorts. I have made a lot of money in shorting Macy's in the past. But if you've ever wanted to short a stock long-term, looking for something to collapse, and everything is wrong with the company itself, Macy's is definitely one of the ones to do it. Let me say that again. You don't miss $154 million in expenses with one employee that mysteriously is no longer there. Get the heck out of here. Stop it. And then we just so happen to find this accounting error. Look, Macy's is dirty. Macy's is going down. Their sales is going down. They're going to be disappointed this holiday season. And if you ever wanted to short a stock over the next 3 to 4 months, possibly even a year, then you can definitely look to Macy's to do so. They'll have some roller coasters, but it's going to be going down, down, down. All right. So that's what happened. We missed 154 million. Get the hell out of here. Ain't nobody crazy. So that's what's happening over at Macy's. In addition to that, TD Jakes is said to be recovering after a medical emergency. Check it out.
A superstar pastor recovering after suffering an apparent medical emergency on stage in Dallas.
Oh Lord, my strength, my Redeemer, let him go in peace.
Bishop Tiege Jakes lowering his microphone and sitting in silence for 20 seconds before clergy rushed to his aid at the Potter's House Church. In the live stream recorded and posted to YouTube, members of the congregation heard shouting as Jakes remained motionless. The cameras eventually cutting out.
Everybody begin to pray. Come on, stretch your hands this way.
In a statement, the church writing the pastor had a slight health incident, adding that he received immediate medical attention and is under the care of medical professionals.
It was a pleasure.
The energy of this weekend service notably low for one of the most widely recognized pastors in the world.
Getting into your purpose doesn't always mean getting into your comfort.
Jakes leads a congregation of 30,000 members and has 6 million followers on Instagram alone.
Nothing you've been through has been wasted.
His message and vitality earning him millions of clicks on his YouTube videos, including this one racking up almost 10 million views.
Everything is a rhythm. God is a rhythm. Breathing is a rhythm.
In addition to guiding his followers in spirit, he's a savvy businessman, authoring more than 30 books.
10 women of the Bible who changed the world through prayer.
Selling Bibles, oils, and apparel online, and hitting the red carpet for movie premieres. In 2021, Jakes launching a sermon series on Sean Diddy Combs' Revolt TV, years before the rapper's highly publicized arrest. Following the incident on stage, Jakes' daughter and son-in-law later providing this update.
Today could have been a tragic day, but it wasn't. By the mercy of God, by the grace of God, Bishop is doing well. He's recovering well. He's under medical care. He's strong. We're trying to get him to sit down. He's the strong bishop that we know.
Well, I'm never one to talk negative about somebody, especially during a life event or a medical emergency. I know a lot of people, and I've said this on the other channel, I know it's a lot of people that feel some type of way about TD Jakes. I don't, because I don't convict people in a court of public opinion. I don't have an opinion on them one way or another. But it's a lot of people that's really, really critical of the clergy. And sometimes rightfully so. You know, I'm not necessarily a fan of Jamal Bryant. And that's based off of what he puts out into the media. But again, people like to automatically condemn and associate with somebody or associate somebody with somebody and just automatically say that they're negative. I don't wish anything negative, especially health related. I don't wish anything on anybody's family. And I also don't wish that anybody's money and finances ever disappear. So I always just give grace when it comes to that in particular. And so I hope that he makes a recovery and that his family is doing well. In addition to that, last but not least, a creator and TikToker is arrested after posting videos that racked up millions of views with stolen merchandise. Check it out.
It was day in the life TikTok videos like this that racked up millions of views for stay-at-home mom influencer Marlena Velez. This video of a trip to Hermes has almost 2 million views and 300,000 likes. But it was this now deleted video of a Target run that led to her arrest and social media notoriety.
This is all crazy. Let me know what y'all think.
Police in Cape Coral, Florida say what looked like an average Target haul was actually video proof of Velez's connection to a shoplifting case they were trying to crack. Last week, police posted this surveillance photo asking the public for help identifying a suspect they say scanned false barcodes at self-checkout, ringing up 16 items at cheaper prices and walking out with goods valued at $500. Police sharing their own social media video of what happened next.
We actually had one person reach out on Instagram and say, hey, I want to remain anonymous, but here's their name and date of birth and their Instagram handle. So from there, we were able to look up her social media and even find on TikTok, she posted a video that day of herself going to Target, buying these items, and then taking them home with her.
Velez now faces one charge of theft and is out on bond.
Everything was documented, even the outfit that she wore. It shows like her getting ready with the outfit and even her glasses.
The stay-at-home Florida mom is now requesting a public defender in this case. NBC News reached out to a phone number for Velez listed on court documents, but did
Public defender stealing? So wait a minute. How you gonna go on the Hermes haul and then be sitting there talking about I'm a stay-at-home mom and I need a public defender?
not hear back. Other content creators now reacting to the news of this arrest with a reminder.
You should really stop comparing yourself to these influencers who have the life you dream of, because it's not always what it seems.
And with that, Maya Eaglin joins us tonight. And Maya, this is somewhat ironic, but not really when you think about what happens on TikTok. This has started a whole new TikTok trend, this case.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. Other creators on the app have started posting videos with kind of a comedic twist to Marlena's story. Basically, they're filming themselves, going to Target themselves, filling up their carts, and then at the checkout, you'll see the screen scanning for items that are clearly less than the value of what's in their cart. Now, we're hearing this holiday music, and as you mentioned, this is typical for TikTok. We know that when big creators are in the news or there's drama, other people will kind of hop on to adding their own 2 cents or making these parody videos to try and hop onto the algorithm, which knows thousands of people are talking about this story right now. Tom?
Okay, Maya.
So, the moral of the story is, like I always say, don't always think that the people that are online are valid. And when people sit there and tell me, well, no, you don't have to necessarily validate what you have or who you are. I'm not posting what I got, and y'all just take people's word for it. Well, I think that you should start appreciating the people that are a lot more transparent about their life. And more importantly, for the TikTokers and the creators, it's not worth it. It's more worth it to just be authentic with who you are and telling what your real life story is, instead of trying to hop on a trend to get popular, only to ruin everything that you can possibly build in one arrest. And now you're going to be known forever online as the person, if you ever try to build a following, as the person that was stealing from Target and that was frauding. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your quick hits. All right, let me read this super chat and we're going to continue on with the show. Invested $25 in stocks, now up to $28.17. Well, here's the key, Kay. The dollar cost average. So you want to continue to, you can start small, but you want to continue to build. And so you don't want to take it out and say, oh man, I got a quick win. And it's not even about the short-term growth. It's about the long-term opportunity and making sure you dollar cost average. Dollar cost average meaning that you want to just automate the investing process and kind of forget about it while at the same time leveraging your portfolio to continue to add value into your life. It's a mindset, all right? Congratulations. I love that. That is absolutely dope. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. And yeah, man, that's dope. That's absolutely dope. All right. All right, let's continue on with the show. Hold on one second. Let me make sure that I got this all set up the right way. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to continue on with the show? Ready to really get to it? All right, let's get to it. So, first things first, I want to tap into the money early today instead of putting it on the back burner. Trump, as promised, and this is one of the reasons why I like Trump. The reason that I like Trump is because he's going to absolutely execute, right or wrong, whether you agree with him or not, he's going to execute on the thing that he said that he was going to do. He is not missing. And so even before he get into office, and he said on day one there will be sweeping changes, he says that he is going to implement tariffs, wide-reaching tariffs across China, Mexico, and even Canada. It's time to pay the piper.
Time for the hot topic of the hour. President-elect Trump says he will issue a day one executive order slapping tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China until they stop the flow of illegal immigrants and fentanyl into America. Fox News' Madeline Rivera is live in Washington this morning with more. Madeline.
Hi, good morning, Maria. This could all have a major impact on trade. The threats are also the biggest indication yet that President-elect Trump intends to move forward with a tough talk he espoused during the campaign trail. He wrote on Truth Social, as one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders. Trump also says we will be charging China an additional 10% tariff above any additional tariffs on all of their many products coming into the United States of America. He's accusing Chinese leaders of failing to follow through on its promises to impose the maximum penalty for drug dealers.
Let me read these posts real quick. I'm going to read them in their entirety. As everyone is aware, thousands of people are pouring through Mexico and Canada, bringing crime and drugs at levels never seen before. Right now, a caravan coming from Mexico composed of thousands of people seems to be unstoppable in its quest to come through our currently open border. Now, I've been reporting on this, and I've been showing y'all how Claudia Sheinbaum, who is Sheinbaum, let me not say Sheinbaum, Sheinbaum, who was the recently elected female president of Mexico, who was at the G20 summit with Biden, now is allowing and watching, and they're letting the police officers and customs and border patrol agents shepherd them through Mexico to ultimately get them over into the United States of America before Trump even takes office. Now, this caravan is thousands and thousands and thousands of people. Maybe I need to go ahead and pull that up. Give me a second. Let me find that. This caravan is thousands of people. I'm going to pull that up for y'all real quick. Yep, this is it. So I'll pull this up real quick, courtesy of the AP. But this caravan is thousands of people, and they have this migrant caravan that's basically headed to the United States of America. For those of you that may not be familiar, I've been covering this, and I've been covering the migrant crisis for literally over 3 years now. They on their way here, and this is what the caravan looks like. So, they're allowing for people to basically walk over into the United States, travel all through Mexico. So what's happening? Mute this for a second. Look at the agents. Look at the border patrol. Look at the police officers over there in Mexico. Look at the people being shepherded through. They're basically providing a pathway into the United States of America. So, number one, let's address these liberals, because these liberals, for some reason, don't think that it's illegal for them to cross illegally into the United States of America. So when Trump then says, "Hey, man, listen, we're gonna have to put some respect on the United States of America's name," people like AOC and all of these overly liberal people that think that it's okay for our borders to be overrun at taxpayers' expense. And we've literally had tens of millions of people come over into this country illegally, and then they want to start talking about a separation of family. No. We need to get to the root cause of this in the first place. Mexico and places like it is allowing for migrants to navigate through their country and use their country and their borders to ultimately exploit the United States of America, including people letting out their jails and all of their criminal organizations in which these gangs and these illegal migrant gangs are now infiltrating up to over 16 cities and creating crime organizations that's then going to resonate in Americans' lives over the next how long? We don't know. So now we have to deploy American tax dollars, ask Congress for more money so that we can chase these people down and then deport them. And then at the same time, we listen to all of these liberal people crying and whining about why are we deporting people? And New Mexico governor, for example, goes on MSNBC yesterday and says some of the wildest things. So this is what you can then see on a regular basis, because I like to use visual references because we then are able to really, really pay attention to what's happening in these streets. When we have a visual, look at the concrete truck driving. Look at the people. They just feeling good. Talking Spanish, got their hair done, got their cornrows. Black women is going to be sitting here talking about how their culture is being appropriated because women got cornrows coming over here and they not even black and all of this stuff. Well, this is what y'all can look forward to. Your taxpayer dollars, all of the monies and the hundreds of millions and the billions of dollars over there in Chicago, New York, so on and so forth, that's being given. He got a Prada book bag. I don't even know if that's real. That's a Prada book bag. Look, and they all are part of diversity, equity, and inclusion. You see black, Mexican, Venezuelan, Cuban, Haitian, Nicaraguans, Chinese. All of these people are feeling comfortable. Look, they just leave their trash on the floor, babies. They got American clothing, book bags. They traveling fervently over into the United States of America. And look, I see guys over here ready to crash out inside of the chat right now. Let her through. She kind of bad. We don't have to become passport bros. Oh, all of the passport gals can stay. Nope. You also get Jesus coming over here too. And Jorge. You don't just get her, you get him too. Looking like the Wicked Witch of the West and the Cowardly Lion and the Wizard of Oz. Yes, you get him too. You don't get her without him. For every one of her that the passport bros want, you also get 20 of him. Yep. Kicking in y'all doors, kick in the dough, waving the fofo. All you hear is Papa, don't hit me no more. For every one of her, you get 20 of him. See his eyes? See the bags under his eyes? See the teeth, the unbrushed teeth? You get Jose, Jorge, and Jesus. You get all of the haze that come along with it. So let's go back to what Trump was saying. Trump is saying, listen, right now it's a caravan that's coming through Mexico composed of thousands of people, and this has been going on for a long time, thousands of people. It seems unstoppable because the Mexican authorities are allowing for it to happen. He says on January 20th, as one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on every single product that comes into the United States of America and its ridiculous open borders. This tariff will remain in effect until such time as drugs, in particular fentanyl, and all illegal aliens stop this invasion of our country. I don't even know how this is not a bipartisan agreement. We need to give President Trump a round of applause. Both Mexico and Canada have the absolute right and power to easily solve this long simmering problem. But guess what? It's big money, big business. We hereby demand that they use this power, and until such time that they do, it is time for them to pay a very, very, very big price. He goes on to say, I have had many talks with China about the massive amounts of drugs, in particular fentanyl, being sent into the United States of America, but to no avail. Representatives of China told me that they would institute their maximum penalty, that of death, for any drug dealers caught doing this, but unfortunately, they never followed through. And drugs are pouring into our country, mostly through Mexico, at levels never seen before. Until such time as they stop, we will be charging China an additional 10% tariff above any additional tariffs on all of their many products coming into the United States of America. Thank you for attention to this matter. And can we give our incoming President-elect Donald Trump another round of applause? Because all I've heard from the Biden administration and the Harris camp is what we need to do or what is going to happen or how she's prosecuted transnational gangs. But I have not seen anything done. No solutions, no stopping. All I see is flights going over our heads, Spirit flights flying back and forth. I keep seeing migrant caravans coming over here, and I keep seeing them aligning with New Mexico and California to let these people into our country. Let's continue.
Tariffs on all of their many products coming into the United States of America. He's accusing Chinese leaders of failing to follow through on its promises to impose the maximum penalty for drug dealers. Canada, Mexico, and China are the top 3 largest trading partners of the United States, so the tariffs could have implications for several industries like automakers, farmers, and food packagers. The reaction from international leaders
What in building America
was swift. A spokesman at the Chinese embassy in Washington says China believes that China-U.S. economic and trade cooperation is mutually beneficial in nature. No one will win a trade war or a tariff war.
That's usually what happens when you got the upper hand and you're making all of the money and everything is one-sided. You say, hey, nobody is going to win. We just need to make sure that we get some cooperation in this thing.
It's unclear, though, if Trump intends to follow through with the tariffs or if the rhetoric is intended as a negotiating tool. Canada's deputy prime minister says they'll continue to discuss immigration with the incoming administration, adding Canada places the highest priority on border security and the integrity of our shared border.
Funny how everybody started to get in line when the man that really means what he says and says what he means and is going to do what he said that he's going to do because you know that he did it the last time that he was in office. Isn't it funny how everybody starts to get themselves together? Now everybody want to start to get themselves in line. You know what? We place the highest priority on border security and integrity of our shared border. Hey guys, hey guys, let's be cool with this. No big deal. We're going to figure it out. Funny how they couldn't figure it out. Nobody could figure it out for the last 4 years, but everybody want to start to get themselves together and start figuring it out. Amazing.
It's an example of how governments and companies are rethinking their strategies in the wake of Trump's reelection. Maria.
All right, Madeline, thanks very much. Maddie Rivera there. Here's what Trump's incoming Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, told me about Trump's approach to tariffs.
Donald Trump's ready on day one. When he wins, January 20th, he's going to hit the ground running, and it's going to be a growth agenda. Tariffs are going to be part of that. He was the original tariff man, and he did it to raise revenues and to protect American industry. Donald Trump has added the negotiating leg, and I think given Donald Trump's credibility on tariffs from Trump 1.0, he will hit the ground running on 2.0, and world leaders and business executives will know he means business.
Oh, yeah, and he's keeping that promise with this announcement overnight, Chris, that he's going to be slapping. These are additional tariffs that we expected anyway on China. And, of course, Mexico and Canada, he's got the USMCA deal in place, but he's got the right to renegotiate that, and it looks like he's going to do just that, Chris.
As he should. It's already working, Marie. We already heard that the Chinese car company saying we don't want to build another factory in Mexico because we're concerned how Trump will perceive it.
Y'all see what's happening? Chinese car companies are saying, listen, we're not even going to build another factory in Mexico. Now, how does this affect the economy? Well, what it does is it protects American automakers. That's number one. Number two, it incentivizes automakers to invest more in the United States of America. Number three, it then hurts Mexico, who is basically opening up their borders to continue to let illegal migrants into this country. And Mexico is letting other countries such as China use them in order to circumvent and then push products into the United States of America that's not supposed to be here in order to avoid tariffs. So now that Trump is in office and saying we're going to use a level of transparency, we're not going to take no money under the table, we're not going to do what Biden and Kamala Harris did, we're going to get tough on these people because we have a trade deficit from the United States of America, and it's going to be some pain and some suffering for the people that's not doing business the right way. Well, this is what you start to get. You start to get results because Mexico is now going to suffer and they're not going to have the economic boom from people leveraging and using them in order to make sure that the United States of America is undermined. And so Chinese companies are saying, hey, man, we're not doing business in Mexico no more because Trump is in office. Why do you think that so much money was flowing into the Biden-Kamala Harris campaign? Why do you think that super PACs were spending so much money and donors were spending so much money not betting, but wishing, hoping, praying that Kamala Harris and Biden stayed in the office? I'm trying to tell you that these foreign companies and these rich people were benefiting so much at the hands and the behest of U.S. taxpayers and residents that they wish, they were hoping that Kamala Harris and Biden stayed in office because they were able to take advantage of and utilize taxpayer dollars while at the same time benefiting from United States of America and their spending power. So all of the money is leaving the U.S. Chinese companies and everything, and the borders is wide open. They can continue to siphon off American jobs. And then y'all sitting there talking about, but the costs are lower. Well, you basically sacrificing the future of yourself and your children to do so. So they basically was just taking advantage of y'all. Over the last 16 years, we only had 4 of them that we actually was benefiting off of the policies that America was implementing. And y'all sitting here talking about we don't know who we want to be president of the United States of America. Oh my God, he's a fascist. Wake up. Wake up. We finally got a man that stand on business and masculinity. You think that they would have looked at Kamala Harris and they would have been trembling in their boots? Get out of here, bro.
And it's showing us that he's using it as a negotiating tactic. It's working extraordinarily well. And frankly, if the U.S. cars are having 100% import in China, it's still disproportionate. This is going to tighten up the border. This is going to stop that flow of illegal drugs, these things that he ran upon. And he has the power to do it. And I think he's willing to use this stick. And I think we'll land at a lower percentage rate. But I think some tariffs are completely appropriate.
Jonathan, it's amazing to me how everybody's getting in line. Even before Trump gets in office, you're seeing a think twice about having a Chinese factory in Mexico narrative going on there in Mexico. You've got the Russians saying, I'm ready for a reset with America. You've got a handful of companies in.
Hold on, let me say something. Geo Black, I see you in the chat. Thankfully, I am not one of these other YouTubers because I stand on what I say when I say that I don't live in an echo chamber. And I allow for people to say some pretty wild stuff. Last night on the Q show, I seen you in the chat. You were saying some wild things, bro. You were saying some real wild things. Now, you know that I love my people, and I think that the chat is my co-host. But for some reason, y'all take my kindness for weakness, and y'all push it all the way to the limit, and y'all just be saying some of the most egregious things that I've seen in my life. I was watching last night. Now, unless somebody got a different profile of you, you were saying some wild stuff last night to me. And you were saying it to the people that was on the panel. I don't know what's going on with you, bro. I don't know if you crashing out. I don't know what's happening. And again, I don't censor people, so I always like for people to be able to give their thoughts whether they agree with me or not. But again, I don't know if y'all really appreciate the fact that I let people and I allow and I'm really heavy on my moderators for not censoring people and saying some of the wildest stuff. But I said to myself that I was going to mention this if I seen you in the chat on the Millionaire Morning Show. And again, I know that you're here and I know that you got a difference of opinion and I know that you actually enjoy the content. So I'm not going to censor you, but I just want to let you know that I'm paying attention because you know, I like to bring people to the front of the congregation. So this is not a warning. I'm not warning you. What I am saying is that I'm aware. That's it. I'm aware. You were saying some wild stuff last night. Some crazy. I don't know if you was high. I don't know if you had a bad day yesterday. I don't know what was going on. But you were saying some insane stuff last night. So I just want to let y'all know I love my people. And I pay attention. Don't nobody censor him. Don't nobody time him out or nothing like that. That's not what we do here. We rock out with everybody that got a difference of opinion. But y'all got to be aware. Y'all can't listen. My one rule is you can have a difference of perspective and a difference of opinion, but we don't want to get overly disrespectful and saying some of the stuff about different people that's not even content creators that's on there. That's all I'm saying. Let's just rein it in. Let's be a little bit more mindful, because I know that we can say what we want to say and we got freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequences. So just let's try not to be crazy disrespectful. You ain't disrespectful today on the Millionaire Morning Show, but yesterday on the Anton Daniels channel, it was crazy.
America saying I'm going to take my supply chains out of China and build everything.
Say Tom, stay saying my name. That's because you want the attention. Listen, I get it, bro. And we're going to get back to the show. I get it. I know that there's certain people that like to be the class clown and they want the attention. And so sometimes in order to get them to calm down a little bit, I'll say their name and I'll say, oh, listen, man, look, we see you. Don't crash out or whatever. And so what that does is hopefully it incentivizes you to just be a normal person with normal disagreements and not look for all of the attention and trying to be the class clown in order to disrupt everything. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? I look at all of the people and I say, okay, well, that one needs a little bit more special attention. That one is banging his head against the wall because he wants to be paid attention to. This one had problems at home last night, and so he want to be loved on. I get it. All of the people are different, and different people need different things in order to feel themselves. So, I know that there are certain people that's going to crash out, and after like a month or so, if I don't mention their name, then they'll be trying to get my attention. Oh, look at me, you crazy. I hate you. I get it. I'm with it. So I said your name now. You good. And so now you can get back to normal. I'm with it. Let's get back to the tariffs.
America.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, there's all these people, particularly on the left, that look at President Trump and say, oh, wow, he's lost his mind. What is he doing? He's doing something when the left has done nothing for the last 4 years to address what he's trying to do. So I commend the president in terms of what he's doing. But also keep in mind that these tariffs, they're level playing field tariffs, right? I mean, these countries are also imposing tariffs on our country as well. So, it doesn't just flow one way. The other thing is China has been long overdue for tariffs to be going up. I mean, they have lied, cheated, stolen, flooded the market since 1999 at least. They need to be held accountable. I don't think 10% is high enough, Maria.
Wow. Cheryl, what do you think?
Look, 80% of exports from Canada and Mexico combined come to the United States. To say that these two countries are concerned about these threats is an understatement of the morning. But I will also add that it's reported that Justin Trudeau actually called Donald Trump yesterday, about 2 hours after this announcement. They've got to be very nervous, and they should be. As far as China, look, China has continued to sell the chemicals that make fentanyl. They sell it to the cartels. The cartels move it to the United States, and we have a fentanyl crisis and more than 200 deaths per day in this nation. It has to stop. Enough is enough. And if this is the way to do it, whether it's a threat or whether it goes through, fine. The other component of this is the price, the consumer prices. Are they going to go up? Yeah, you know what? Maybe they will. But I think it's up now to these two countries and to China as well.
I think that this is a good thing. More importantly, it's great because it actually follows through on the promise that he made on the campaign trail. And far too often, we see politicians say different things while they're campaigning and they don't even try. They don't even try. Now, I know that it's some things that can't be done sometimes because, you don't have the funding. You may not have all three legislation, all three branches of government. You may not have the Congress fight against you. That's some of the stuff that Trump was dealing with during his first time in office, even though he still was able to achieve a lot. Imagine the amount of things that he can achieve now that he's back in office. And so considering that Canada and especially Mexico is highly dependent on the United States of America for exporting the majority of their products over here into the United States of America, they should be very, very careful and they should tread lightly. So shout out to Trump. I appreciate him for continuing to execute. He's not even in office. The biggest thing that I think that we have to worry about is the fact that Joe Biden is literally trying to burn it down before he even gets there. All right, so let me read some of the super chats, and then we're going to continue over with the show. Zed Letlin said, Anton, please look at the USD, CAD, USD, CNY. Capital is already leaving Canada and China. You can see it on the FX markets. All right, I shout out to you. LaFleur says, morning, AD, I'm not celebrating yet, but I'm grateful to see a 34th year today. I've been on vacation since Thursday. And let me give a round of applause for you. Happy birthday, LaFleur. Jerry says the Mexican president is trying to stop Trump from deporting illegals back through Mexico unless they're Mexican citizens. Well, don't let them walk over here. How you gonna let them walk through your country and not do that? Wade talks. What up, Wade? Says heard the tariffs will drive consumer prices up. Well, we'll see. Y'all can't be paying no more than y'all already paying right now, because we didn't even have nothing happening except for illegals coming into the country, and y'all already paying 200% more since Trump left office. Hold up, passport bro, I'm on my way to the border. You ain't even got to worry about it because they coming over here. Andrea Andrew says the U.S. government threatening to enforce lawful action against its own states so that illegal migrants aren't detained is a truly historic presidency. Voltaic Art says, best investment I made, use my job to fund my business, got a large format printer, plotter so that I can print and ship vehicle wrap designs. That's a great idea. And that's what I keep telling people. You don't necessarily have to have no loan. You just need to lower your lifestyle and then fund your business with what it is that you generate. Cornrows can stay. She fine and she feminine. I'll get her a... How y'all know she could be cantankerous? I'll get her a green card. A lot of these Western women aren't even nice anymore. Y'all be crashing out just because they light skinned with good hair. Mexico president threatening her own tariffs on the U.S. Okay. we don't care. Finish the wall and deport them all. I'm with it. James says, happy Thanksgiving. Happy early Thanksgiving, Anton. Have you gotten used to the shift gears on the beast yet? I'm very much used to it because, I mean, it's the same thing as the Tesla that I had before. So it's pretty awesome. I love it. Rita just stole it and went to the store in it. You said you made a lot of money shorting Macy's. What does that mean? Does it sound like day options terminology? It doesn't. So it's the opposite of investing in a company. So you know how you invest in a company hoping that it does well and that the stock price goes up and that they pay a great dividend over a period of time so that you can generate more revenue? Well, it's the reverse. So you're basically taking a company and you're basically saying that I think that this company is going to do worse, right? So essentially, shorting a company is saying that I think that this company is going to be trash. And so this is the price, the difference between where you shorted at and the difference between where it is that it's sold is where your profit is going to be. So think about it like this. If I look at an Apple, right, and let's just take a number. Let's say that it's trading at $100 a share and I buy 10 shares and it goes up to $200 a share, then that means that I made $1,000. Well, on the reverse, let's say if Apple is trading at $200 a share and I short it at $200 and it goes down to $100 a share, then that means I made $1,000. You see what I'm saying? So do I need to start talking about shorts and breaking down all of the additional terminology? Because right now, inside of Stock Club, I've been giving y'all advice on how I look at things from a long-term perspective. But I think that I got to do a class and break down all of the rest of it. But we'll get there. Shout out to Spaces. That's a great question. I love that. Shout out to my girl, Molly. I appreciate you, baby girl in Spaces. What up, though? TD says, is governments allowing migrants an act of war? I think so. I absolutely think so. But, you know, essentially, yes, you're making money as the prices go down. Yep. So maybe I need to go through and break down some stuff on Stock Club to give y'all some more insight on how it is that y'all, because a lot of times it's not as complicated as people like to make it out to be. But often at times, I believe that now there's some additional context to that. But again, I'll do a whole class on that. Maybe that'll be our next Stock Club. All right. R. Marie says, speaking of trades, what charts do you use? I'm using if using TradingView. Well, if you're trading on a regular basis, you can look at a lot of different platforms. I used to use E-Trade's platform, and then I used Fidelity's platform. I switched over to using Fidelity's platform. So they have a different platform that you actually download as software on your computer. But in order to read the charts and what's happening from a long-term view, I just use Google. So I just use Google Finance. All right. Shout out to R. Maurice. Let me see. What else? Good morning, AD. So what is it? So does that mean Mexico have open borders to everyone else? They do. So people are flying into Mexico in order to walk into the United States of America. That's exactly what it means. All right, so y'all ready to continue to rock out with the show? Y'all ready to start rocking out with the show? All right, let's get into the next portion of the show. So, speaking of war, because a lot of y'all are talking about trade wars, I want to bring y'all up to date just really quickly on what's going on in Israel and Russia. So Netanyahu is basically brokering a ceasefire deal or looking to agree to a ceasefire deal in principle, at least for the next couple of weeks to stop the killing. Check it out.
Is set to vote on a ceasefire deal with Hezbollah today after Prime Minister Netanyahu reportedly approves the deal in principle.
Israeli officials telling the New York Times, quote, a key sticking point has been Mr. Netanyahu's insistence on securing some assurance that Israel could restart the fighting if Hezbollah broke the truce.
Mike Huckabee has been appointed as the U.S. ambassador to Israel by President-elect Trump, and he joins us now. Governor, good morning to you. So if this deal is signed, the proposed ceasefire would reportedly include a 60-day pause in fighting, Israeli forces withdrawing from Lebanon, Hezbollah retreating, and Lebanon's army creating a buffer along the Israeli border. So what do you think about this? And if signed, what does this mean for Israel moving forward?
When they say a 60-day pause, it's just saying what the proposed Israel-Hezbollah ceasefire is going to be. 60-day pause on fighting, Israeli forces withdrawing from Lebanon, Hezbollah retreat, Lebanon's army creates a buffer along the border. And so what I hear when I hear a 60-day pause is, let's wait until Trump get in office so we can figure out if we can broker a peace deal and get out of this war in the first place. What I hear when I hear 60-day pause, because it's less than 60 days, if I'm not mistaken, it's like 50-something days before Trump's get into office. And I could be off on this, but what I hear when I see a 60-day pause, they're basically saying, let's wait till Trump get in office so we can figure out what we're going to do now. Israel has been getting hammered, and we also know that the ICC has also issued an arrest warrant and is looking at Netanyahu as a war criminal now. But let's continue to go on with this.
So what do you think about this? And if signed, what does this mean for Israel moving forward?
Well, let me be clear. I'm not speaking for the president, President Trump, or the administration. I've got to get confirmed in order to be the ambassador, so I've got to issue that disclaimer. But it's certainly good news. Good news for people in Lebanon. Great news for the people of Israel who have had to relocate from their homes. 100,000 families who can't live in their communities and neighborhoods because of the constant missiles and bombs and rockets that are pelting upon them. So this would be wonderful if it holds. But the problem is that Hezbollah and its Iranian-backed proxies like Hamas and the Houthis, they've never kept an agreement. So I think the prime minister's doing the right thing by trying to say, let's see if we can get a way that you quit bombing us and throwing missiles and rockets at us. But I also think he's very smart to retain the right to restart the fighting if Hezbollah breaks the truce.
So New York Times is reporting that Iran...
I don't think that there's going to be no real truce. Even if they do get a truce, I don't think that the fighting is going to actually stop. I don't trust either side to actually stop the fighting.
Iranian leadership is encouraging Hezbollah to accept a ceasefire deal because Iran is worried that continued fighting by Israel would degrade Hezbollah's capabilities even further. So that means that Israel has the upper hand right now, and Iran is worried.
And they ought to be worried. They know what happened when Donald Trump was in office.
They worried about Trump bankrupting them again. And so this is how I know. Well, let me let him say whatever he's going to say, and then I'm going to add additional context.
Office before, the maximum pressure that he put on the Iranian government pretty well bankrupted them. And that's what made it so difficult for them to move forward. Joe Biden came in, took his foot off the gas or off the brake, put it on the gas, and the next thing you know, the Iranians are flush with money. What do they do with it? They gave it to Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, and they started killing innocent civilians. So, yes, they're worried. They ought to be. And let's hope that when President Trump is inaugurated, one of the first things he does is reinstate that maximum pressure and make it clear that it's not just for Israel, it's for all of the Middle East to have a peaceful existence, which cannot happen as long as the Iranians keep threatening to wipe every Jew off the face of the earth. And then their promise is to come after us in the U.S. Let's not take that lightly. Let's believe what they say.
There will never be peace in the Middle East, in my opinion. There will never be peace in the Middle East. You can only have temporary peace in the Middle East. And when I say that, I'm saying that, meaning that, number one of the ways in which Trump had completely, and he's absolutely right, one of the ways that Trump had started to get some control over what was happening in Iran is that he sanctioned them to death. He sanctioned them so hard to where they basically had no money, no income, and they had no ability to continue to fund these wars. Now, since Biden got into office over the last 4 years, Iran is absolutely booming. They are running up a bag so hard that they can continue to fund these wars, these forever wars that they continue to be a part of. And so this is some way that you know that the Democratic Party is a part of the war machine, the military-industrial complex. And I also believe that they took a page out of Bush II's book, and they continue to try to stay in office by having these wars and basically saying that we need to look at these people as enemies, which then, you know, most people say, well, you need to finish the job, but the job never gets finished until somebody like Trump's get into office. And then all of a sudden you start seeing ceasefires, you start seeing peace, you start seeing bankruptcies when it comes to these other countries, because we're not really leveraging our weight and throwing it around because we don't want what's best for the American people. We want what's best for the military industrial complex and all of these other donors that are basically filling their pocketbooks. And so I can't stand the fact that we're so ignorant as a country and that most of the voters are not even aware and not paying attention to the things that's affecting them on a daily basis. And one of the reasons why your costs are going up and why the cost of why inflation in the American dollar's value is going down is because we are in these forever wars and there's people that's benefiting off of it. And so I don't think, I do think that the reason that they're talking about a 60-day ceasefire is because they're waiting for Trump to get into office. Everything that's happening in the economy today, everything that's happening overseas, everything that's happening with immigration, everything that's happening with these cabinet picks, food, all of this stuff, everything is basically on hold. All of it. I think that Russia is trying to show strength, so they'll be in a greater negotiating position when Trump get into office. Israel, they know, Netanyahu know that they're going to probably get cut off, and they not going to have the type of funding that they was getting under the Biden administration. Mexico is shaking in their boots. Canada is getting their lives together. China is trying to figure out what they're going to do and how they're going to pivot because they was looking forward to taking over the United States of America if Biden and Kamala Harris and their regime and the Barack Obama regime stayed in the office. And so everything is on hold. Everything is on hold. And they're stealing as much money as they possibly can by continuing to press the button. And Biden is asleep at the wheel, and who knows who's telling him what to do. Everything is basically on hold until Trump get into office. But everybody know what's coming. Everybody know what's coming. So that's what's happening over as far as Netanyahu and the Israel cabinet and so on and so forth. But over in Russia, Russia is saying that they are basically advancing their attack more than they ever have in the last 2 years. Check it out.
Russia is advancing at its fastest pace in 2 years, according to an assessment from the Institute for the Study of War. Moscow is firing swarms of drones daily, as well as artillery and missiles. But it was Russia's launch of a new kind of missile last week that got NATO's attention. Ukrainian intelligence clocked it flying 11 times the speed of sound. Russia has the momentum as the holiday season in Kyiv begins.
Oh my God! Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas.
This charity gives psychological support to children whose parents were killed in battle or had their homes destroyed by making cupcakes, writing letters to soldiers, and tying bracelets.
This is so nice.
And crafting ornaments in Ukraine's national colors.
I will put this on our tree at home.
Down to the American flag on the table, their message couldn't be clearer. Please don't abandon us.
How important for Ukraine is that American support?
We hope a lot for U.S. support to finally bring us victory, says Oksana Sliapova. Those fears that American support is dwindling, coming after President-elect Trump repeatedly criticized current aid levels. Carrillo's father is missing in action.
How much does your son understand about what happened to his father?
He knows that his dad has disappeared, but every night he hangs up the keys and hopes he'll come home, says Tatiana. She's lost her faith in the war. I think we're going to lose, she says, and we will be taken over by Russia. Ukrainians have held strong for more than 1,000 days, but with Russian advances and U.S. policy in transition, the stress is showing.
And it is not that Ukraine is sitting on its hands in any way. President Zelensky saying that every Russian attack must be responded to. Craig.
Richard. Yeah, it's time to go ahead and put this to bed. Nobody wins except for the people that got their hands in the pockets of the American citizens. Nobody benefits from war. All it does is put us at greater opposition, and it starts to put us in a position where we now have to start to defend ourselves against things that we're not even supposed to be a part of in the first place. We're fighting a bunch of wars, we're funding a bunch of wars, and we basically going at our adversaries. And it's just dumb. It's just absolutely dumb. So I just wanted to give you all a little bit of an update of what was going on both with this whole Israel war and this whole this Russia-Ukraine war. All right? Let me read a couple of the super chats, and then I want to make sure that I add value into y'all life with the next thing. A quick shout out to my tribe. I love y'all. Shout out to my girl, Macy. I love Macy. Macy is right. We be getting on Macy, too. Tracy Clark says, first time contributing to you. I love all that you do. God bless you, my brother. Thank you, Tracy. I appreciate you also. Advanced Perception says, that's why Iran tried to take Trump out. Yeah, probably because they know that the money is going to stop flowing in. It's just funny how it's such a huge difference. A major difference in the way that people are governing. And we just justify it, and we don't even make a big deal about it, and we just continue to let it rock out the way that it's been rocking out. Thank you to Spencer Campbell for holding me down on Cash App. I appreciate you, my friend, for always contributing and add value into what we got going on over here. All right, so let's move over into the next thing. The next thing that I want to talk about is Cam. I do. I want to talk about Cam. Now, a lot of people may not necessarily know who I'm talking about when I say Cam, but I'm specifically rocking with Kamala Harris. Cam was a name. Cam was a name that I gave to Kamala Harris before she decided to run for president of the United States of America. Because she ghetto. She good and ghetto. Good and ghetto and, revised chameleon that then tried to present herself a little bit differently once she started to get in front of the American people. But she good and ghetto. Very, very good and ghetto. Oh, Maximus, come on, man. I'll read that super chat shortly. But Cam is trying to weigh her political future, and I want to explore that in this conversation. First, let me give you a little bit of a video, and then we're going to go from there.
Many political prognosticators have written off Kamala Harris's future political chances or ambitions, but the vice president may not be going away anytime soon, according to a report from this morning.
That is right. Politico is reporting that Harris will stay in politics and perhaps make a run either for governor in California in 2026 or make another run for the White House in 2028. If she chose option B there, that would set up a race potentially with current California Governor Gavin Newsom, who is considered one of the many Democratic leading contenders for 2028.
So this is a little surprising to me that I guess keeping your options open is not the same thing as abjectly declaring you want to stay in the field of politics. She seems pretty checked out to me, and she lost, and I would guess that she doesn't have necessarily a bright political future ahead of her. She's already been the vice president. I kind of expect her to go like the speaking route or media route or take a, Harvard Institute of Politics fellowship type thing. rather than actually, get down to work and try to run for office again. She's actually never had a tremendous amount of success. I mean, she was elected senator from California, so maybe she could get elected governor there.
Wait a minute, Eric D. You saying she won't make it out of the primary in 2028? I thought that you was one of the biggest Kamala Harris supporters. Eric, wait a minute. Say it ain't so, Eric. Eric, what's going on, big dog? I thought that you was one of the biggest. You was a huge Kamala Harris fan. He a fan. Eric, I remember you over the last 6 months advocating for, supporting, and being in Kamala Harris's camp, Eric D. Now, Eric, don't you start to pivot. Don't you start to pivot and go away from Kamala Harris now. You don't switch up your sides. One thing about Trump people that rock with Trump is people that rock with Trump stayed rocking with Trump even after he was stolen. The election was stolen from it in 2020. People that rocked with Trump all the way from the last 8 years. Come on, Eric, don't do that. Don't you switch up on us now. You hold it down for your candidate. You stay down for her, all right?
That doesn't seem totally outside the realm of possibility to me. It's a little bit of a step down from being vice president. It would be not totally historically unprecedented in all of American history. I think John Quincy Adams returned to the House of Representatives after being president, and President Taft became Supreme Court Justice and Chief Justice of the Supreme Court after serving as president. Perhaps there were vice presidents that served in different roles after leaving office, although none of them come to mind. But you do have to go back some ways to find someone who stayed in, or who took a kind of lesser or different position. Or she could run for president again. I don't know. I kind of think the Democratic Party is going to be looking elsewhere by then, or Democratic voters at least. Certainly, if the elites conspire to just have her be the nominee, as they did.
That powder blue suit is something crazy right now. But let me go ahead and go straight over to Politico, who actually broke this story so that we can break it down and I can give you all a little bit of insight of what the mindset is of the people. So Politico is saying that Kamala Harris is back from vacation, and she's telling her advisors and her allies to keep her political options open because she could run for president or California governor. The question for me isn't if, it's when or which one she's going to go for, or either or both, all right? So it says that Kamala Harris has been lying low since her defeat in the presidential race, unwinding with family and senior aides in Hawaii before heading back to the nation's capital, which is really weird to me because in my mind, she's been on vacation this entire time that she's been inside of the White House. Thank you, Ms. Crotty-Shetty. I'm going to be reading that shortly. She's been on vacation the whole time that she's been in the White House, but neither here nor there. She worked for a good 107 days, and then all of a sudden she needed vacation. All right, cool. But privately, the vice president has been instructing advisors and allies to keep her options open, whether for a possible 2028 presidential run or either to run for governor in her home state of California in 2 years, which would be the midterms. As Harris has repeated in phone calls, I am staying in the fight. Let's continue. She is expected to explore those and other possible paths forward with family members over the winter holiday season, according to 5 people. Well, she definitely gonna have a vacation in the Harris inner circle, who are granted an anonymity to discuss internal dynamics. Her deliberations follow an extraordinary 4 months in which Harris went from President Joe Biden's running mate to the top of the ticket, re-energizing Democrats before ultimately crashing on election night, and then crash they did. She doesn't have to decide if she wants to run for something again in the next 6 months, said one former Harris campaign aide. The natural thing to do would be set up for some type of entity that will give her the opportunity to travel and give speeches and preserve her political relationships. So all of these people have to appeal to donors, and they can't necessarily just get the support that they need unless they stay in the limelight. Most immediately, Harris and her advisors are working to define how and when she will speak out against Donald Trump. Isn't this dumb? They're working to define how and when she will speak out against Donald Trump and reassert her own role in the Democratic Party. The goal isn't to be America first. The goal is to figure out where and when they can criticize, and they're not being objective. They are hateful. Closing out her term as vice president, she's set to preside, and a lot of people don't even remember for some reason. They just mysteriously forgot that she was basically being ranked as the worst vice president of all time. She's set to preside over certifying the November election she lost to Trump, and then appear at the once and future president's inauguration of January 20th. I can't wait to see that. There will be a desire to hear her voice. That cackling hen? Yeah, okay. And there won't be a vacuum for long. At the same time, Harris and her husband, Dougie, will have a long checklist to plow through before they leave the National Observatory for good. They have to decide whether they will take a permanent residence at their home in Los Angeles or establish a base elsewhere. No matter where Harris and her family live, some around her have expressed concerns about her safety as the Secret Service protection expires 6 months after stepping away. Oh, you mean some of the similar stuff that Trump had to deal with? Following her meteoric rise in Washington and California, there are internal questions about standing up a federal committee to raise money. They already still raising money to cover that $20 million. It will be the first time in 2 decades that a former senator and career prosecutor will be out of public office. That means she'll be standing up a personal office and nurturing her massive online presence without organizing principle of day-to-day governing. You got to let them marinate in their own success, their own failures, or their own mistakes and their own achievements. This is personal. Goes on to say, Brazil recall how Gore was given months before people demanded an answer about his next moves. That over the last few months, Harris, despite her defeat, has earned a lot of political capital, and you don't squander that by making snap decisions. So basically what they're saying is she has the options to pretty much do whatever it is that she want to do, that she's an X factor in the next Democratic primary, that while some Democrats are dismissive of a 2028 run, and few, if any, prospective opponents would defer to her, Harris notched more than 74 million votes and was able to build goodwill among a large group of Americans. Now, here's the key, all right, as we look at this 74 million vote number. We know that the biggest demographic that voted for her was women and simp black men, specifically black women, okay? So the question that we have to ask ourselves when we're mulling the fact that she's anticipating either running for a 2028 presidential election and or governor of California in 2026, who would be able to beat her and who is a part of the Democratic bullpen that you think would serve as a better presidential candidate to go up against an anticipated J.D. Vance and whomever it is that he picks as his vice presidential candidate? Who? That's the thing that you got to, because listen, J.D. Vance, he is no slouch. J.D. Vance is no slouch. J.D. Vance might be one of the most intelligent politicians that I've ever seen in my entire life. The way he just completely dismantled Tim Walz. Now, we're not even focusing on Tim Walz, right? When we start talking about the bullpen that the Democrats have, they really don't have one. Gavin Newsom is probably going to gear up to try to run for president of the United States of America in 2028 because of term limits, and he don't have nothing else to do. But I don't think that Gavin Newsom is ever going to be taken seriously. Why? Because he was such a POS governor of California. You can then say, well, maybe Tim Walz. Nope. America's dad, we don't want Tampon Tim. He knows that he just needs to try to hold on to his governor's seat over in Minnesota instead of trying to run for president of the United States of America. A couple of other candidates. I think personally that this whole woman theme is something that they're going to continue to ride and they're going to continue to push. Now, the question is, which women in my opinion, which women are they going to try to push to be president of the United States of America? Men are out of the Democratic Party. Men are out of the Democratic Party. So it can only be one of four people. A, I think that Kamala Harris is absolutely going to run for president of the United States of America in 2028. Her ego won't let her bow out, and that will be great for the Democratic Party. The second option is Michelle Obama. All right. Now, I don't believe personally that Michelle Obama ever wants to run for president of the United States of America because she experienced and she's expressed such disdain for the fact that she had to endure through her husband being president of the United States of America. So I think that she is out. AOC is a person that is a star in the Democratic Party, but I think that AOC more or less aligns with a Bernie Sanders as far as her extreme liberal views. And so I don't think that AOC is electable at all. However, AOC has emerged as one of the stars of the Democratic Party, even when it came to her asking the question of why people voted for Trump and voted for her as far as that was a part of whatever her district was, right? So AOC could definitely be mulling a run. And then last but not least, I think that one of the other women that they are trying to look for to be a part of the Democratic Party as far as running for president of the United States of America is Michigan's own Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Now, Big Gretch, as they like to call her, was a huge visibility piece when it came to the Democratic national election and the Democratic convention and being on Oprah. And she was with Kamala Harris everywhere that she went. And so I personally don't like Gretchen Whitmer. I don't even like the name Gretchen. And I think that she is absolutely one of the fakest people that I've ever seen in my entire life. However, what you see happening now is a repositioning, and I believe that former or current Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan is going to make a run for governor of Michigan. I believe that Gretchen Whitmer is ultimately either going to seek a cabinet position and or run for president of the United States of America. And I also believe that Kamala Harris is going to make a pitch for being 2028 president of the United States of America. Either way, none of these options is going to work out for the Democratic Party. And I think that they have some soul searching to do. They have to go back to the front of the congregation and need to figure out what they're going to do. And none of this is going to play out. Gretchen can't win. AOC can't win. Michelle Obama can't win. And I think that Kamala Harris would be a layup as far as running against the Republican Party with how loaded that it is. The Republican Party is loaded, personally. I do believe that, again, they're going to try to push a woman. They are determined to push women inside of the office. Trump is one of the rare people in the first in presidential history to beat two women, no pun intended, in national elections. First Hillary Clinton and then Kamala Harris. So he's definitely headed off the feminist movement and made sure that masculinity was still in style. Again, but I think that those are the four people that the Democratic Party would like to promote. I don't even think the Democratic Party is even looking at men. I don't even think that they're looking at men at all. They are heavily invested and dedicated to pushing women because that is the only thing that they can get through. There is no man on the Democratic side that the Democrats are even paying attention to when it comes to promoting them, pushing them, and ultimately getting them to be the leader of the party at all. All I hear is women. I hear some people say Josh Shapiro. I don't believe that they're going to go with Josh Shapiro. They believe that Josh is too liberal. Westmoreland, nope. I think that you're wrong, Connie. Wes is not even remotely going to be in the running, in the consideration, because I don't think that I don't think that he's liberal enough to satisfy liberals on the Democratic side. And then at the same time, he's not strong enough to be able to stand up to Republicans. Nope, at all. So I think that those are your four options. One of them is definitely out of Michelle Obama. But those are your four options. The rest of them can't win. And probably the closest thing that y'all gonna get is Gretchen Whitmer, because she would be immensely more popular than Kamala Harris, in my opinion. But Kamala Harris is the one that got the momentum. So yeah, the Democratic Party got some soul searching to do. And Gavin Newsom, he's the wild card, but that's definitely not gonna happen. So, yep, she's considering running for president already and governor, and she's looking at her allies and her donors. First, they got to cover that $20 million that they in the hole. but she's looking to her allies and her donors. Yep. Listen. Tulsi Gabbard would have been the perfect, in my opinion. Tulsi Gabbard, as a Democrat, would have been the perfect person if they were A, going to push a woman, B, going to push somebody that actually was strong and stood on something, and then C, would be able to communicate effectively enough to be a good presidential candidate. And they lost her. I am just amazed. I am amazed that they lost Tulsi. Was one of the biggest up-and-coming stars of the Democratic Party, and they lost Tulsi. I can't believe it. Of all of the people that they had inside of their bullpen, they decided that they wanted to go. So here, really the question is, did they lose her, or did Trump pluck her out of the Democratic Party in order to maintain power? Did they lose Tulsi? Because Tulsi is probably one of the most moderate Democrats that they had on their side, because she was largely all about protecting American citizens and making sure that we started no new wars, and also that our borders was closed off. And they messed up. They absolutely messed up in losing Tulsi Gabbard. She was the perfect person that was going to rock out with them. Anyways, but they went so far left that they basically alienated everybody that was actually good inside of their party that people would even consider voting on. Let me read just a few of these super chats and then we're going to move on. Lady migrants need help. Depends. Oh, Jesus Christ. Maximus, you crazy. Miss Crow T. Shetty, I appreciate you for the super chat. Says, for the greatest morning show on earth, give 80 is $30 million. Price going to go up in a little bit, so they better give me something. Bushido Gaming 415 says, Cam is still the VP. How is she on vacation? 2 months before she out of a job. That's like using up your PTO before you leave for the next job. Will Kamala get any new catchphrases by 2028, unburdened by what has been? Absolutely not. That's going to live with her forever. Cam like the hurt, can't get rid of this broad. Nah, you're going to see her for a long time. She going to come back like the time we living in, and that is the time is now, to be unburdened by what has been and what hasn't been. Shout out to Black. Ricardo, I appreciate you. I bet any amount of money Kamala can't do the election slide, though. She probably can. I agree, Mike. Oh, Jesus Christ. Mike Obama could definitely be a problem. Yeah, right. Ain't nobody checking for Michelle Obama. Ayanna Presley, nope. Wrong. Be Easy 333 says, if Tulsi and Kamala wins primary in 2028, will you refrain from voting? I'm never going to refrain from voting. Considering your stance on female presidents, hypothetically speaking, I'm never refraining from voting, ever. I am always going to have a say in where my tax dollars goes, and I'm always going to play my role in both midterms, local elections, and national elections. So no, I'm never going to refrain from voting. Mr. Joe says, for the election plate, the state of Maryland is facing a $2.7 billion deficit for 2026 fiscal year. I know, and Oakland is about to go bankrupt too, just like I predicted. Dem's not picking Tulsi, she a neocon. P. Shank says, what up? Good morning, Mr. Anton Daniels. Thank you, P. Shank. I appreciate you. Thank you to everybody that's holding me down and contributing into the platform. Make sure that y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Tap into the Patreon, link is in the description. Also, Tiege Hanley, 40% off your first order, plus 20% off of life. And then last but not least, make sure you get your tickets to come and see me in Detroit, December 14th, 2024. All right? So, we got to go over to The View, y'all. My favorite show on the face of this earth. I was watching Landman. On Paramount Plus. I've never had a reason to ever subscribe to Paramount Plus. But I was watching Landman on Paramount Plus, and it's one of the rare few shows that I actually like. I don't watch TV much. I did watch a little bit of TV over the weekend, and Landman featuring Billy Bob Thornton, and it's about the oil fields and all of that stuff. It's an incredible show. So outside of the Landman, my other favorite show is The View. Now, at first I was trying to figure out whether or not The View would be canceled or not. And at first I was thinking, yeah, The View is going by the wayside. But then I remembered a hate watch is just as important and as effective, if not more effective, than somebody that watches something because they love it. Every day, I get people that tune in and they get the information and they become successful as far as leveraging the information just like y'all, but they will never give me my credit for teaching them and giving them insight on how they need to be doing things differently in order to be successful. So they hate watch because they hate me, but they love the information that I give. However, the hate viewer is just as important because sometimes, in most instances, they love you more than the people that's actually watching the show because they love you, right? And so when I think about The View and I go through and I evaluate all of the comments that they look at on a regular basis, or that's left on a YouTube channel on a regular basis, not the lunch ladies that's in the office watching, but when I actually watch and look at what the reactions are to The View, I realize that part of the reason that they are sustaining themselves is because people don't like them. And that is just as entertaining, if not effective, as far as how advertisers see you, than if people love you. Anyways, on this latest version of The View, of course, we got Sunny Hostin, and we got Whoopi looking crazy as usual. But in addition to Whoopi looking crazy as usual, we also have different people on the platform that have a difference of opinion, and I'm starting to see the disdain amongst them for those people. Don't believe me? Let's have a conversation about it. Let's go ahead and fast forward to the beginning of the show where they decide that they want to start talking politics, all right?
After January 20th, which is something I've been saying for, I don't know, the past 7, 8, 9 months. Because you don't ever know what's going to happen with an election. You can hope and plan, and when stuff goes down, you got to make a decision. We're not going to know jack until January 20th, until he's in. You're not going to know what's going to happen.
You know exactly what's going to happen.
And is no point, in my opinion, is no point in working yourself into a lather over it. I don't know if you agree, but I'm like, okay, I'm not going to yell at the TV until I know what I'm yelling about.
Well, it's been exhausting being that, Donald Trump has been running since 2022 again. So watching this campaign cycle, it felt like it lasted way longer than anything ever should. And then for some of us, we didn't win this election. What we wanted, that was a resistance, and then the votes come in. Right now, I think everyone's not only exhausted from politics, the holidays are a beautiful thing, but they're also a heavy thing for a lot of people. And so we're heading into a place where you need a refilled tank to deal with anything you're dealing with, whether it's grief, loss, or the happy parts as well. And then I think you have to think about what the action of that resistance looks like when things are actually done. Arguably, Matt Gaetz was a resistance because the public scrutiny of that and all of the coverage of that, even Matt Gaetz said when he resigned, this became too big of a distraction. That was resistance. It may just not look like what everyone's thinking it is.
He didn't resign because he was a distraction. He resigned because he wasn't going to get confirmed. But look, this does feel different than 2016. In 2016, at this time, the Women's March was being planned. That began getting planned the election night, and it began with a Facebook post of a housewife in Hawaii, and it turned into millions of women marching all over the country the day after the inauguration. I think, look, we're all 8 years older. I think a lot of us are still apoplectic that America voted against a qualified woman again and put in, this racist misogynist, and they don't care. And so it's tiring. It is exhausting. It is disappointed. I think this election cycle was an emotional roller coaster, right? We had Joe Biden, the debate, 2 assassination attempts, Kamala coming in and running hard, leaving it all on.
I agree. Anna is insufferable also. But I haven't deep dove into her yet because Sunny Hostin is the most insufferable at the moment. So second place don't get as much visibility as the first place victim Olympian. And they still talking about racism. These privileged people, this diverse panel of hyenas and lunch ladies is still talking about racism and being a fascist. And they're not talking about the Israel war. They're not talking about immigration. They're not talking about inflation. They're not talking about the cost of living. They're not talking about any of that. They give 90% of the talk time to the hyenas that lean into the victim Olympics, which makes it even more entertaining, in my opinion, and 5 to 10% of the talk time to the people that actually have an objective view.
The field for 107 days. And then we thought she was going to win like we did with Hillary in 2016, and she didn't. So I think people are exhausted. I think they are looking at taking care of themselves before they take care of America, right? I gotta breathe. My mental health has got to be in a good place. My physical health has got to be in a good place. That doesn't mean we're gonna tune out for 4 years, but it means we're gonna take some bubble baths for a little bit.
Yeah.
Bubble baths. I find politics to be invigorating. I love politics. I almost like politics as far as covering it just as much as I like covering money and talking money in business. Almost. Not quite, but almost.
I think that's true. There were a couple of articles over the weekend about how black women in particular were dealing with this, because we know that 9 out of 10 black women voted for Kamala Harris, and that historically black women are sort of the backbone of the Democratic Party, right? And so 92% of black women voted for Kamala Harris. So you have 92% of black women very disappointed and feeling some of the things that you are feeling. So I think people are taking a moment to take care of themselves. Self-care is really big. I think they're also reevaluating how they want to engage in this democracy. She's a friend of mine, but Latasha Brown is also the co-founder of the national voting rights group Black Voters Matter. And while a lot of people said that Stacey Abrams was sort of the architect of Georgia going blue, it was actually Latasha Brown that was on the ground, and Stacey Abrams has admitted that. And Latasha said this weekend: America is going to have to save herself. Mm-hmm. She said,
America is a her now. America is a she now. So America is a he, she. So America is trans. I mean, I could be off. So America is going to have to save herself now. So now America is gay. America is sassy. America like to play in women's sports. You see how they throw these little subtle things in there to try to get you to emotionally respond to certain things? Listen, one thing was right that she said, in that 91% or almost 92% of black women voted for Kamala Harris, which basically tells you that you cannot follow women in any way, shape, or form, especially black women. Oh, Anton, why are you singling this out? Because you singled yourself out when you wanted to vote for somebody at a 91% clip. Look, if you're voting, let's just look at this logistically. Let's not even look at the candidates. Let's just look at the logistics behind voting at a 91% clip of anything or anybody, right? At best, it should only be 60 to 65% in either way. And historically, in all elections, half of the country is going to be divided one way and half of the country is going to be divided the other way. Now, we have the Electoral College to actually give a voice to states and places and strongholds that have more sway or will be more affected by who becomes president of the United States of America over others. But here's the thing. If I'm a politician, right? And I say, okay, well, I have this demographic of people that are so ignorant and is so caught up in identity politics that no matter what, I know that I'm going to win the majority of the vote, then why would I ever focus any of my energy on trying to galvanize that base outside of making sure that they donate to my campaign? Umar Johnson is one of the biggest grifters and finessers that I've ever seen in my entire life, personally. That's my opinion. But Umar Johnson was right about one thing. He said, listen, why would you vote for a person? And he broke down some other things, right? But largely, this was his main thing. Why is one demographic of people or one culture of people, black people in particular, automatically tying themselves to a party and dedicated to a party which we've historically been conservative, but you're giving them your vote, which then don't require for them to ever have to do anything to win your vote except for have rhetoric that says that I want your vote. If you are automatically in this group, and if you're men, which we all know that the greatness of a culture, and this is one of the reasons why we're so behind as a culture, if the men themselves are the litmus for how strong a community is. And those men, those very men are following their women to the polls and looking at entertainers and the Roland Martins and the D.L. Hughley's and the Steve Harveys and the Ricky Smileys for insight on how they're supposed to vote. And then I get a majority of these men that then come on my panel on Monday night and I say, hey, well, why did you vote for a woman to lead you? And they say because of reproductive rights. Then that shows you how weak the culture is. That's why I have no problems with walking past some of these people that be preaching on the side of the road or that is standing and interrupting good white folk and Hispanic folk and Asian folk and black folk that are going to work every day. And they are sitting there preaching on the street corner and they dusty and they got BDBs in their head and they say black power or they say I'm an Israelite or whatever, so on and so forth. And I look at them and I laugh in their face because I realize that you have no power because everything that you're doing is being told to you and you have no ability to be able to affect what it is that I got going on a daily basis. And so I laugh at you. Can't even mobilize enough to even get a following so that you can try to say something that'll be relevant enough for people to watch. If you are voting for anything or anybody at a 90-something% clip, then there is no debate and there is no demand and there is no requirement for them to have to earn anything for you because they already know that they got you sold up. The main demographic that it worked on was black women and black people as a whole. 100%.
People can rely on black women to lead change, but the next 4 years will look different. That's not a Herculean task. That's for us. We don't want that title. I have no goals to be a martyr for a nation that cares nothing about me. And I think a lot of black women are feeling that way.
So I feel a bit different because God's honest truth, I kind of always thought Trump would win until maybe the final days just because it felt like Kamala Harris had this real momentum. But the signs were there. And I talked to, I have a very diverse friend group, family, like people who vote different ways. And I have felt like there was a yearning in this country that people wanted Donald Trump back. And the most common thing I heard this entire election cycle was, I don't like his personality. I don't like the way he talks, but my life was better when he was in office. And I'm in this position where I feel a bit unburdened by what has been. I'm going to wait and see. He's not.
She uses a Kamala Harris. I feel a bit unburdened by what has been. She's happy that Trump won. She's not going to say it. She's going to act like she still voted blue, but I know that she voted for Donald Trump.
Sworn in yet. I'm somebody who probably agrees with 75% of his policies. If he focuses on creating jobs, on bringing down the cost of living, securing the border in a responsible way, and being tough on America's adversaries, I'm all for it. What doesn't mean we're not going to call balls and strikes when he does things that are beyond the pale or he uses words that are offensive to people, then be ready to call that out. But I just think I'm kind of shying away from this sort of apocalyptic, it's all, we need to be like losing sleep over it. The American system of government is strong. It's held. There are checks and balances, even if my party's in control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And I think we should root. I root for America, so I root for a smart, serious Donald Trump presidency, and I root for pushback when he doesn't do things that are smart.
And you see how they start over talking her, and she never gets an applause. She never gets an applause.
All those things are great to dream about, and
they laugh at her. She's the only one that relatively makes the most sense on the panel. Now, I know it's a lot of people that say, oh, she traded against Trump and all this other type of stuff. I'm going based off of what I'm observing here right now. She's the only person that makes sense on the panel.
they're great.
I mean, we could take back for 4 years or just engage in the process.
As I've always said, this process was handled without me.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Because the things I was looking for, and I listen to people make fun of it. It's not about race. It's not about misogyny. It is for me.
Translation, I am a racist and I play identity politics. I'm a racist and I play identity politics is what Whoopi Goldberg is telling you right here, right now, to your face. She's telling you that she's a feminist and she's aligning based off of identity politics. She's not hiding it. She's telling you to your face. So y'all need to stop trying to please these people that don't care nothing about you.
It is for me because that's how you see me first. So that's how I have to respond to you. And I don't think this is what you're saying. I want to be really clear because you know how they like to always put us, oh, and she was mean to it.
Yes.
I understand all the things you want to see him be. I understand all the things that he promised he would be and he wasn't. And now that he has been given carte blanche, I'm not going to waste a lot of time on what he might do.
But at the
I'm gonna wait because I need to see what he will do so that I know what I'm going to do.
That's in many ways my point. But we can sit here and we could be apocalyptic about what he might do, but I also think there's a moment for self-reflection. I felt as unrepresented by Biden when I would talk about, I care about the border. Why did you wait till 3 years in to do it? I care about the cost of living.
But
why aren't you talking about it?
Why do they keep cutting her off? Why do they keep shutting her down? Why do they keep interrupting her when she is the only person that is making sense? And the minute that she started to hold Biden accountable, the minute that she started to pay attention to the Democratic Party and say, I'm self-reflective, but I didn't feel represented by this current administration that's still in office right now, that didn't do anything about the border and didn't take care of this and didn't take care of that, they automatically starts to overtalk her every time.
We've done all of that, and we're talking about how this respect comes to you, how it comes to me, how it comes to you. We're looking at different things. You're hearing different things than I'm hearing because you're not listening for the same things. We just aren't, and that's okay. I have a lot more understanding about what you're looking for than most people have what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
This is all word salad. She went to the school of Kamala Harris.
Yeah. So I think what we're all saying is we're going to sit and watch. We're going to wait and see because we can't do anything else except.
I'm not going to wait and see. I mean, this guy is told us he's a retribution. He's going to be a dictator.
There's nothing to be done until you know what you're fighting. It's pissing in the wind doesn't help. You just get a wet face.
But I mean, what I'm saying is I have no false expectations that at 78 he's going to all of a sudden turn into another human being. And I'm not going to spend.
Hyenas. Hyenas.
I spent weeks telling people that he was apocalyptic. I'm not going to change now because it's still the same man.
Treating every single thing like
I think that's when we lose credibility.
Well, here's the thing. You lose credibility in many different ways. If you don't know what you're talking about and you accuse him of something, then they're going to blow it back. That's why I say we need to wait and see exactly what you're going to do. Are you coming after all the folks that come to this country for a better world, who come here to work? What do you want to do with all those folks? What are you going to do with those jobs?
Send them back to where they came from, and we're gonna tax Mexico for letting them walk through the streets of Mexico City over here into the United States of America.
When you take all these people away, when you talk about getting rid of folks, you better know what your back game is going to be before you talk about what you're going to do until you know what you can do. And you know what I can do. You know what I must do. Yeah, right this second. What must I do?
Be quiet and live your privileged life. I think that The View is becoming insufferable, but it's great must-see TV. I love The View. I think that it's my new favorite program. I love The View. But it's amazing how they continue to overtalk and shut her down when she's the only person that's making sense on the panel. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to move over into the next part of the show. The Green Monster says, Democrats didn't lose Tulsi, they pushed her out. Yeah, that's messed up. And then they tried to put her on a... Never mind. I don't even want to get into it. Mark the Guardian says, instead of vacation, shouldn't be trying to push her tax credit or a $25,000 home or small business loans so black men can start a weed business. What if they run out of a trans man in 2028? Ultimate DEI hire and final F off to the black Americans. Didn't her family own slaves or something? Yep. Proud 21% and 6% stand up MAGA. Shout out to you. I appreciate you, Gat. There's women watching who voted for Kamala Harris. 91% don't lie. And then they want to act like they didn't vote for her. It's the same people that say that they didn't vote for Biden, but they did. A black woman with the last name Goldberg is hella suspect. Be Easy 333 says Tulsi 28 will force the left to not run in the Victim Olympics. Impossible to claim misogyny and racism. Tulsi is the most merit-driven woman. Non-DEI is the best. It's best we get ahead of this before America crashes out. What a DEI chick. Jay Denoir 89 says Tulsi could be the future Prez nominee for the GOP. Dems know they effed up losing her. Thus they will go after her with a vengeance and destroy her. Nah, we ain't worried about that. Tulsi don't have nothing that you can destroy. Anyways, last but not least, the last thing that I want to talk about is something that everybody continues to discuss, and that is Elon Musk and possibly Trump participating in buying MSNBC. Buying MSNBC. This is something that a lot of people have been having a conversation about Elon Musk buying MSNBC. Well, CNN has been paying attention to what's been happening in the streets, and CNN said that they wanted to have a conversation about it, all right? So make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Also, make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. And then get your tickets to come and see me December 14th in Detroit. Let's see what CNN had to say. I haven't seen this, and so I'm reacting to it for the first time. But let's see what CNN has to say about the possibility of Elon Musk buying MSNBC, and then I'm going to give you all my thoughts.
So, Carrie, I want to ask you about this idea of media takeover, because after Elon Musk purchased Twitter, changed it into X, there's no doubt that he exercised some power there. So how do you hear this even in jest kind of purchase of a cable network?
Good to be with you tonight.
Good to be with you as well.
Thanks for having me. I think that we should believe everything that is said coming from this administration. I don't think that we have the luxury to dismiss it as him being someone who's being funny or someone who is just being himself, or that is his brand. X, and you said in some ways, always. I feel like X, I don't know if anyone is on it in any capacity. I don't know if you're on it. And you're the only one? You're on it? You all are on it? Okay. I've actually decided to take a rest of peace because it is not a peaceful place for me. And I know if, in fact, you don't agree with this current administration, most people can say that it's not a peaceful place. I wouldn't be surprised if there was an actual bid made to take on MSNBC, but the fact that it just can't happen in real life.
And
it just can't.
It's officially not even for sale, we
yeah,
should
it's not
say.
officially for sale.
The last
it's not
time
even
he
realistic.
mused about maybe buying something,
It's
he
not
ended
even
up doing
realistic in real life, but I do believe that media, everyone sitting here at this table, if you don't agree, we're in for some tough years ahead. I do believe that we are not going to be able to be as safe or say what we want to. I don't think free speech is going to be as free.
Now, Scott.
What? You know, I've realized that sometimes people just be saying stuff. Nobody is actually trying to make sense. Sometimes people just be talking. You know, it was during the Biden administration and the censorship of Trump. They literally banned Trump from Facebook and Twitter for over 2 years. And it wasn't until Elon Musk bought X that he then unlocked and allowed for people to be able to have free speech again. The one thing that Elon Musk is not against, or he is against, is censorship. The one thing that the Trump administration is against is censorship. The one thing that they don't believe in is censoring free speech. That is a fundamental American right, and you can't just start to police people. And what we've seen under Democratic leadership is they would censor their enemies, and when Elon Musk released the files over at Twitter, then it showed that. And even Mark Zuckerberg said that he had drunk the Kool-Aid and he had given in to what it is that they had said was an agenda, and it wasn't beneficial for him, his company, or the American people. And so when they say dumb stuff like censorship and free speech and all of this stuff, nobody is stopping you from saying what you want to say. You just don't like being drowned out by the fact that you are in the minority now, and that the majority of people actually align with the agenda of the Republican Party and conservatives and as a whole, even if they label themselves as Democrats. The one thing that we are for is free speech and no censorship. People just be saying stuff.
I want to bring you in here because this kind of link to Orban, we don't pull it from nowhere. There was a former member of the Hungarian parliament who was writing in Politico who kind of talked about this effort by that government and how specific it was in terms of purchasing media specifically for propaganda. Do you hear why they're making that connection?
I mean, is the concern that certain media outlets would become propaganda arms of political ideologies? I mean, don't we already have that in this country at a large scale? I mean, also, I heard what you're saying about X. I saw a survey this week. It's now the most ideologically balanced user platform.
Scott,
of any platform.
stop. It's too early. I just sat down. I've only been here for 2 minutes.
You're going to be embarrassed when I tweet out after the show, but
you
it's
cannot
true.
say that.
So,
So that's the case.
Why do they always like to overtalk him and he was quiet the whole time that they spoke?
Source of that.
What I find, we reported it on this network.
It's not accurate, and you know it.
Okay, I'll let you make your statement.
Scott, can I
but my point is
can I
this.
reframe it a different way? Because the site changed radically, right? So whether you think that voices it is somehow more balanced now, that's fine. But no doubt Musk's influence is profound, and that you open it up and now you're there with his opinion, and he is now part of this administration. So does anyone else think that there should
Did she just go away from him? Did she just literally go away from him when he didn't even get a chance to make his thought?
Greater concern about
I would never want to be a part of
purchasing media companies.
Okay. Would you be worried if Bill Gates controlled MSNBC?
No, because he's sane.
Because MSNBC.
What? So you would be more worried of Elon Musk than Bill Gates? Oh my God. Hey man, get these women up out of there. Go ahead and have layoffs over there at CNN. They have no clue what she's talking about. They just blurting stuff out without even thinking about what they say before they say it. Man, listen, the loudest ones is always the ones that's the most ignorant and they don't know nothing about what they're talking about. She just literally said that she would prefer to have, let me make sure I heard that right.
Worried if Bill Gates controlled MSNBC?
No, because he's sane.
This is why you can't follow women to the polls. I'm sorry, ladies. I love you. I appreciate you. I know that you guys really, really love what we do over here at the Millionaire Morning Show, and I would love for you to continue to stick around and watch. But this is a representation of who y'all have. This woman made it to CNN on the panel on national TV, and she's saying some of the wildest things that I've never seen in my entire. I'm looking at this for the first time. I'm watching this for the first time. And I'm trying to understand what the heck is going on right now. What in the world? And that, listen, I understand that, some people got powerful reach. So I'm not going to actually give my thoughts as to why that don't make sense and why that's crazy. However, let's continue to hear what they got to say.
Because MSNBC comes from Microsoft. It was a partnership between Microsoft and NBC way back in the 1990s, back when Microsoft was under investigation by Bill Clinton's DOJ for monopoly.
That's true.
I don't remember anybody panicking over MSNBC back then.
No, they definitely did. But yeah, continue. Well, like Fox was launching, MSNBC was launching. The cable news network was shifting. The landscape
But
was shifting.
isn't the issue that the left has gotten so used to controlling almost all institutional information distribution arms in this country that when one little piece of it, whether it's X or MSNBC or anything else gets taken away, the panic is so outrageous. I mean, that's how used to the left is having control of all of it.
I don't think that that's an accurate assessment when you look at something like Sinclair Broadcasting Group that has purchased most of the local newspapers and local television stations and sends out distributed information that their anchors are supposed to follow for the correspondents. That is a conservative-leaning group. I think the difference, though, I'm not siding with Elon Musk at all here. The one thing to point out is that platforms are not regulated right now, which gives them carte blanche to whatever they want right now. Elon is not someone who likes to be regulated. And so to buy MSN, he would go under some federal regulations.
Who's regulating CNN right now?
The FCC.
We're not a broadcast. It's cable.
I mean,
They looking dumb as hell. Hey, maybe y'all should start researching y'all subjects before you jump on these platforms and you start spewing nonsense. You're looking dumb. You're looking like an idiot. They're like deer in headlights. And so CNN and MSNBC are propaganda base that is generating revenue and trying to create a user base off of leaning left because they thought that that's what the woke wanted to be. And now they're trying to have a little bit of a pivot and say, oh, no, we're moderate. No, we're more down the middle because they absolutely are getting trounced in the ratings by Fox News. And that's what's really happening.
I don't really think cable stations are under the same regulatory structure.
It doesn't go over public airwaves.
That broadcast.
You're looking dumb as
It's definitely regulated more than than Facebook and
you listen. You don't have to keep standing on this. There's no hill for you to die on, ma'am. Just go away.
what she's saying is that there's still a litmus test of journalism that you have to pass. You can't
That you
come on
don't have
TV
on
and just
platforms.
make up things, make up things and say things. That happens on X. Please don't give me the eyebrow furrow as if you don't know what I'm talking about. It happens often on X. I can go and say the color is blue, and I will be met with so many disrespectful remarks. No one's regulating the N-word. No one's regulating the criticism. No one is regulating how people are treated.
How much government
or the
regulation
lies.
of the First Amendment are you for?
Let me tell you something. If I came on here and I just started calling you all kind of names, do you think the bosses would let me continue to do that?
I mean, it happens to me occasionally. I don't know if you
well,
watch
it
the
doesn't
show.
happen to you, but it doesn't happen for me. And I know that I wouldn't be able to do that. There's a level of professionalism in what we do here because we are journalists and we adhere to something at least morally. And there is no moral compass on this thing called
You're
X.
also having a conversation about a person who has the ear of the White House in a very profound way. And you have had the former president,
We're taking all of the guardrails off. You can say anything you want to say on Facebook. You can pretty much say anything you want to say on Instagram. I see some of the wildest comments on my comments, even in my live streams. And I say, hey, what is the main thing that I say inside of this live stream? What is the main thing that I say inside of this live stream? I say, hey, listen, do not, unless people get wild and start talking about somebody's child or something, do not time out or censor anybody just because they have a difference of opinion. Even if the whole chat is against me, let them rock out. Now, that don't mean that I'm not going to come back at you. It don't mean that I'm not going to bring you to the front of the congregation. It don't mean that I might not drop a link in the chat. But I say to people, let them say what they want. What is up with this over censorship and regulation of what people are saying and how they reply to you? So you only want people to agree with you. You don't like it if people think differently about what you say. I don't believe in censorship. I don't. You could say what you want to say when you want to say it. Even Gio, look, Gio still want my, okay, I got you, Gio. You still typing, ain't you? Now, I could say that I disagree with you and bring you to the front of the congregation, but that don't mean that I'm telling people to ban you or time you out. No, let people rock. Let people say what they want to say.
President-elect talking about yanking licenses, right, as part of the broader Republican
If you
argument
disagree. Yes.
that there is censorship and therefore people need to be punished for that censorship. Chuck?
And I was thinking about what X, former Twitter, the artist formerly known as Twitter, was like before. And to my sister's point is like before Elon bought it, good and bad, there was a lot of things there.
Sure.
My wife refuses to go on it. She says it's a cesspool, and she's mad that I'm even still on it. She's got more sense than I'll ever have, and I'll tell everybody that. But I know when I open up the platform now, the first tweet I see is Elon Musk, no matter if I like it or if I don't like it.
Yeah.
The very first one all the time.
Whether you follow him or not.
So what? He bought it.
No,
you're making my point. Absolutely did. That's what's going to happen on
MSNBC.
MSNBC. And he don't like me, so I probably won't be on there no more. So I'm mad.
I also think that Twitter has fake computer-generated things. It's bots.
Listen, bro. All right. So this is my thoughts on it. Now that we got all of these hyenas on here saying what they want to say and just saying wild stuff like they have more confidence in Bill Gates putting something out than Elon Musk. Here's my thoughts. And I said this the other day, and I'm going to say it again. I do not think that Elon Musk and Trump should participate in buying MSNBC at all. I think that they should let them go the way that they're going to go, and it's going to be a slow death. It's like going to be, it's laying on a bed of nails. It is going to be a slow bleed out. Death by 1,000 cuts, death by less subscribers, death by less people actually viewing your platform, and you getting less advertiser dollars. He already got his platform, and streaming is the way anyways. I think that he should put more resources into continuing to build up the platform that he has, that is growing by leaps and bounds and is now profitable, instead of spending time focusing on trying to buy something that we just laugh at in the first place. Let them be who they want to be. Why reward the owners of the network for going liberal by buying them out? Don't give them a dime. Let them suffer. Let them either thrive or die on their own sword. And if you want to do something and continue to promote what you're already building or build something new, it takes less money to build something new than it would be to repurpose something into something different. That's my opinion of it. Anyways, yeah, they saying he would do it for a troll. I don't think he should do it for a troll. I don't think because again, you would have to reward people for their bad behavior. Let me read some more of these super chats. Remember, says BizQ, the more delusional they are, the more they continue to lose. Let them enjoy their echo chamber. I agree. And let them be mad at each other when they lose the next election. I don't know why Scott Jenney wastes his time at CNN. He's way too talented. Well, he's probably getting paid. The M in MSNBC stands for Microsoft. Facts. Explain CRP, please, says Antonio Williams. R. Maurice goes on to say, anyone who needs additional clarification for what separates Elon and the mainstream, look at Elon versus Don Lemon interview. Aaron L. says, the issue is that this journalism is opinion. Yeah, that's not journalism. That's not journalism at all. A lot of people think that what people are saying just because they are a journalist, that it actually means that that's journalism, and it's not. It's not. It's not journalism. Anyways, Recluse says, listen, I've pushed the N-word many times on platforms like YouTube, jokingly or not, only for it to be canceled seconds later. Think about it. Come on, Recluse. This is the sword that you want to lay on? Come on, fam. Come on. Come on, big dog. Come on, big dog. And also, the people that are on Recluse, if you don't know, you can basically turn on censorship or turn off censorship to where YouTube would automatically flag certain words to where you couldn't say it in their particular chat or on their particular platform, right? So I have the ability to turn on my moderation and have it be incredibly aggressive or very, very passive. You know what I'm saying? So you also got to respect people's platforms and how they want to run their platforms. That is a part of freedom of speech, right? The ability for them to be able to control who says what on their platform makes sense. And if you don't like it, then you should be able to go and create your own platform. All right. Anyways, I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me. Make sure y'all tune in to After Hours tonight. It's going to be awesome. I'm supposed to do Fox News tonight with Laura Ingraham, so we're going to see what happens with that. And make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. All right. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest audience on earth. Let me just read a couple more super chats. Kimmy Joe says Elon should buy MSNBC and give Joe Rogan and Alex Jones a show. Nah. Explain XRP. Why do you keep asking me to explain all of this stuff and you can go and look it up yourself? You know what this stuff is. You know what XRP is. You know what all of this stuff is. All right. Anyways, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. Make sure y'all tune in to After Hours. I love y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.